Keep looking at the crystal. You're getting sleepy, sleepy. Your eyes are closing. You're asleep. Etapu, Namaste, Assalamu alaikum, Runefer. This is Kusak Keperu with another video for you. And in this video, we're going to talk about how to attract and work with light beings. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button at the bottom here. Show your love for the channel. If this is your first time to my channel, hit the subscribe button to get notifications when I go live or when I upload recorded videos. Also, we have free ebooks that expand more on my teachings and the esoteric. Click on the links below, download those ebooks, and start reading them today. And if you're not already a supporter of ours on Patreon, consider doing so. As a supporter, you get exclusive access to a wealth of content. We have videos on hypnosis, how to be more confident, how to stop overeating. We have videos on performing rituals, how to work with oracles, to be a diviner, all kinds of good stuff. Again, you can do so for as little as $1, $5, $20 per month is up to you. And you can cancel at any time. So welcome to this late night broadcast. I had a really good message I wanted to impart to you, so I decided to do a broadcast. But it was a very interesting morning. I had this pitch session with this producer slated for this morning. So I set my alarm for 7 a.m. and then I got up and I got some protein drink, took some vitamin B, and I was ready, when meeting was supposed to be at 10 a.m. Lo and behold, I got the time wrong and it was 1 p.m. So I got up really early and it was ridiculous, but it was okay because I saw that as an opportunity. I said, you know what? For these 4 hours, I'm going to meditate. And then after I meditate, I'll go to my pitch session and I will rock it. And the pitch session went really, really well. She was a really nice producer. We have kind of like the same Ma'at personality. And just so you know what a Ma'at personality is, it's a very open personality. Like the person is very warm, open in a way. You can just feel they have nothing to hide or anything like that. So, and they're very casual, relaxed, that type of thing. Where a Semitic personality could be a little bit more formal, professional, But anyway, I wanted to do this video to talk about a very important subject, which is light beings. It's appropriate to have my Ma'at feather here. I recall when I was very young, about 15 years old, a light being coming to speak with me. And as I look back upon that, I remember us having a conversation. And it was very interesting. And it wasn't until recently when I started to do light work, and I'll explain what that is, that I look back and recall that situation. And it kind of, in a way, perturbed me because when it happened when I was young, I thought nothing of it. But now I'm looking back on it, I'm going, wow, this light being came to me and we had a conversation. That should have given me pause to think, but it seemed really natural to me. Now, I bring that up to say this. Anytime you're working with any interdimensional beings, be them light workers, whatever, the important thing is to keep in mind this. You attract what you are. And that is key. Now, let me take a step back so that we can understand a little bit more about light beings, how to attract them, how to work with them. And this may not be for you. It may not be for something you're ready for at this point in time, because light beings are very high on the spiritual ladder, very moralistic, no BS, okay? One of the great things about the Kemetic system, the religion of Asar and Aset, is that not only does it come with the Osirian drama, which there are many different versions of that because it deals with different dynasties in Kemet, or different kingdoms, the old kingdom, new kingdom, middle kingdom, but it has the Port Netru, or the company of gods, that has been refined as it was passed on from kingdom to kingdom to kingdom. And that is the equivalent to the periodic tables of elements. Because what our ancestors did was they codified the spirit and the energies or intelligences that work within you, and they put them on the tree of life as spheres, or call them meridians, call them chakras, whatever you want to call them. And in doing so, they developed a system of spiritually elevating yourself by climbing the tree, going back down, and climbing up again, touching upon each sphere. Now, if you are a student of the Kabbalah, spelled with a K or Q, then you will recognize this tree of life and understand that it's a means that really is a mathematical computation that kind of gives you the code to God, to becoming God. At the very top, we have zero, the state of nothingness, Amen. And if you look at the papyrus of like Annie from the book of Coming Forth by Day and by Night, you can read Budge's versions, you will see as time progressed that this tree of life progressed. It was not static. As our ancestors learned more about the spirit and about the deities, they updated the tree of life. And this is contrary to how you have what you now see with the Christian Bible, where it's fixed, it's static, it doesn't change. This is why we call it dogma. Now, when you start out on your spiritual journey, I would say there are three things you go through, and I'm not going to really get too deep into it, but the first step is to know thyself, which is what the tree of life is all about. It codifies the different aspects or spirits within you, or divisions of your spirit, The Sahu, the Kahabid, the Eb, and the Shechem. You codify those different divisions, and you can actually see through an oracle reading where you fall on the tree of life, how where you're at spiritually wise. Western man doesn't go there. They're all about free thinker, being independent, to hell with morality. So Western man never developed a system that codifies and ranks you spiritually. Now, as I said, the first thing you go for is to know thyself. And then the second thing you go for is spiritual power. And this is the power of Sekert, Ptah, which is high on the tree. Because when you're operating using things like voodoo or voodoo, you're at the low end of the tree, the Kabid, because you're manipulating animal energies, basic instincts, energies. And the third part is you start to, once you know thyself, and once you achieve power, the third part is you work to uplift humankind. You become more than you become altruistic, and you think of others and not just yourself anymore. You become selfless. Now, many people get to the point of where they get power, but they don't go on to stage 3, which is trying to help advance the human cause. I remember when I went to my astrologer, she did a reading on me, looked at my astrological charts. She said, "You have healing powers." I said, "I do?" She says, "Yes, you do. You can heal people." And never knew it. And as years progressed, I started working with energy systems and found that I actually could heal people, even remotely. Now, this goes along with the idea of working with light beings. Because when you start to work with light beings, you then must think altruistically, because that's what they're all about. You stop thinking about amassing power for your own sake, but you start looking at how can I acquire this power to help the human cause? Now, that's challenging for some because many of us are brought up in this Western society that teaches it's all about me, the individual, and the individual has the right to do whatever they want to do. And that's not true because you are living in a Ma'at realm. And what Ma'at is the interdependence and interrelationship between all things. So you are not free to just do anything you feel. Now, when you start to use your power that you have learned for the good of all, you then become what we call as a light worker. You assist the light beings. And in return, they provide you with profound wisdom and knowledge. And then when you pass on, they help you transition. But again, this is hard for some to accept because we're brought up in a self-centered world that from the time you were born indoctrinates you into that ideology. This is why you must purge yourself and divorce yourself of the dominant culture. You must go against it. You must be a maverick. You must be the hermit in the deck of the tarot, seeker of wisdom and knowledge. You must be the hanging man, to still the thought process, to intuit wisdom and knowledge to help humankind. I remember, and this will shed more light on this, when I stopped at 7-Eleven in the middle of the night, and I noticed how there was all kinds of wayward, backward people, degenerates that would hang out around there. And I'm like, why are these people hanging out, begging for money? And I would feel as if I wanted to help them. But I remember the Queen Mother saying, stay away from them because they're mentally not altogether right. And that because they're not altogether right, they are attracting dark, deceased beings. And you don't want them to attach themselves to you, Kasank. And she was 100% correct because in addition to light workers, you have your dark, deceased beings who thrive and feed off the energy of people and feed off the energy of environments, such as dark alleyways, haunted houses is where you will find them. Now, of course, we brought up in a society that tells you if anything opposes you, and there are things that will oppose you, and that's a lie, that you must eliminate it. But that's not what you need to do with dark deceased beings. You must show them the light. You're not here to judge them, destroy them, because they have a right to exist. Do you understand? But you need to help them and show them to the light. That is being a light worker. That's a higher spiritual calling. Now, I'm well aware of the fact that many of us go about our daily lives getting our asses kicked. We got rent due, we got bills to pay, we got kids to send to school. So it becomes very difficult to think about other people. And that's the way society is constructed. It's constructed to stress you out. It's constructed to throw sports and music at you so you don't pay attention to what Caesar is doing. And Caesar is doing some underhanded things. This is why you have the 3 stages: knowing thyself, amassing power so that you can be a conduit, to be of use, to help heal the world. And once you dedicate yourself to doing that, the light beings will give you more power than you could possibly imagine. As long as you are in the light, as I said before, you attract what you are. So if you're operating on a vibrational frequency of light and love, you will attract those light beings. If you are operating on a lower vibrational frequency of earthly means and measures, you will attract those type of beings. Now, there are a lot of interdimensional beings, a lot. You could cover volumes of books. In fact, Barden published it. It's called The Practice of Magical Evocation, where he covers many, many different interdimensional beings that you can communicate with and you can summon. People who do the invocation ceremony see nothing, and nothing materializes and nothing happens. Consequently, they think that Barton's book is a phony, and it is not. It works. But you see, it really focuses on the elaborate ritual and preparing things. You have to build the altar table according to certain specifications. You've got to have the right herbs, the incense, and things of that nature. But what many will not tell you in the occult community, because there are many secrets that are kept from those who are neophytes, those who are just starting out, is that if you want to summon these beings, you must first be vibrating at the same frequency in order to see them, in order to interact with them. And there are many tales from the occult community of things that have gone horribly wrong in these evocations. For example, individuals believing they are invoking benevolent beings. And what really happens is they conjure a malevolent being, could be a demon, could be something else, that tricks them and poses as a light being. And if you're not skilled in evocation, you will be fooled. And this all makes sense because it's your fault in the beginning. Because you see, you're trying to invoke something or evoke something that you are not on the same vibrational frequency of. So you're going to get something else. So keep that in mind. In the Tree of Life meditation system, the author references the fact that in order to petition the deities, you must obey the truisms of the deities and live those daily. And he is so right, because you must become the very thing that you are looking to invoke. This is the same way. If you're going to try and manifest money, you must resonate on the frequency of money, meaning a person with money. How does that person feel? How do they carry themselves? What do they go out there and buy? How do they talk? It's all about frequencies. That's what Nikola Tesla tried to tell us. He says, unlock the secrets of frequencies, and you unlock the key to the universe. Now, you are mistaken if you think this is very complicated, that you'll have to go out and get Francis Barton's book or a book on summoning spirits and do the elaborate ritual and get all of the fetishes, as they call them. Yes, those things will help, but don't forget they are permission slips. And there are some who can very easily invoke these beings. And that is because they're already operating on that frequency. Do you see the trick? See how that works? So you don't have to get involved in the deep ritualistic practice, because if you're living in light and love, those light beings will come to you and they will open up a dialogue with you. Many people who I deal with in our fourth dimensional plane question me, they doubt me. And they say, well, Kasak, really, have you actually seen these beings? Are these beings really out there? Are they really happening? Because, I've been on this planet for 45 years and I've never seen any paranormal entities and all that. Well, when you have been indoctrinated into a left brain society that tells you the only thing is real is that which is concrete, hence the left brain cannot think abstractly. When you have been indoctrinated into that philosophy, what do you think you will attract? You won't attract interdimensional beings, that is for sure, because you're not operating on that frequency. Do you understand? Like attracts like. So when they come and tell me that they doubt of the existence of these beings and these entities because they've never seen them, and I say, exactly, and you won't see them operating on your left brain ideological philosophy. You're not going to see them. It would take a radical shift in your thought process, signified by the I-ching's 49th hexagram revolution, for you to be able to see them and interact with them. I've taught many students that when they finally made the shift to left brain to right brain, and they did the evocation ceremony, they ran back to me and says, Kazak, I saw the spirit. You were right. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, really? Oh, wow. Now you believe me. These things are real. They're out there and they're waiting to work with you, to impart knowledge and wisdom with you. Now, I would recommend starting with other beings, not necessarily light beings. The reason being because it's a high calling. And if you want to go that route, then everything you do in your life, you have to think about others first. How can I heal this person? How can I help this person? You see, when you perfect your magic and when you become fairly proficient at it, then you must start running out of the gate to help other people and put your own wants and desires aside for now. When I first got into spirituality, I kept a diary for 3 years. I wrote down my routine every day in that diary, filled up 3 books. The one common thing you'll see in all of them is that I always thought about, how can I use this to help others? How can I use this to help others? Ask yourself that question. How can I use what Kasank is giving me to help others? Because that's what I am doing. I'm giving you something in the hopes that you will take it and help to shift this planet away from third density to 4D or 5D. I'm not showing you this, and I'm not imparting this wisdom to you solely for the fact that you could benefit on your own. No, no, that wouldn't be right. It's with the hopes that you will try and make a difference. And never forget, although visually you can only see limited spectrums of light, these beings are all around you. They exist with us. So you are never alone. And anytime you want to commune with one of these beings, you just simply have to shift your vibrational frequency to match that being. And then it will appear before you. I don't think it just appeared because it was always already there. You have just shifted to a different frequency so that you can see them. Now, it is very challenging or difficult for them to exist in our plane. So when you read the practice of magical evocation, it's going to teach you how to create the right conditions for them to manifest and for you to work with them. And always remember, these are natural entities and they have a right to exist just as you have a right to exist. And they serve a function. They're not just there in the ether, floating around doing nothing. No, they serve a purpose. God created them for a specific reason. Even those which you may call demons, they exist for a reason, and demons serve a very important purpose. But you see, it is a violation of the law of Tahuti to say that they're evil. Tahuti tells us that nothing has a quality in and of itself. You taint it, you flavor it with your experience. And remember your will. Have a free will. What does that mean? Essentially, you're unconditioned. You have no emotional compulsions. You don't like this or dislike that. You are free. You're not conditioned to like or dislike anything. That's the meaning of a free will. It is only by living on this planet Gaia, Geb, do you then create patterns or conditionings which then have you saying, I like black tea, but I hate Earl Grey. Because really those things are neutral. So we have to be careful in how we frame our sentences. You say, my person likes black tea, but my person also hates black tea, because you must learn, as the tree of life and the division of the spirit shows you, there's a difference between the self, the true self, which is who you are, spirit, and the person. So don't get it twisted. You're not the person. You are the self. You are the indwelling intelligence, which we call Oser. You are God on earth. Now back to doing light work. As a light worker, you'll be called upon to heal people. And believe me, I've encountered a lot of people going through all types of challenges and trauma. And the one thing that this world needs is people who are looking out for others, who are doing light work to help them. Because we have a society that is corrupt. And I'm going to give you an example. It's easy for this society to put down and to label and define those with substance abuse issues. But there's never any understanding of how they got to the point they are at now, or why they have substance abuse issues. That's because we have a society that's broken, and it pushes people in that direction of becoming addicted to substances. So let's work to heal them, and not just look at them as rejects of society or look to cast them out. And sometimes being a light worker means that you may have to sacrifice things in your own personal life for the welfare of others. I know that's difficult for some people. That was challenging for me because I had a lot of ma'atem issues. And a ma'atem issue is I was selfish. I was only thinking about me. I had to work through that because I wanted to climb higher on the tree of life and to elevate my spirit to the level of a Shechem. So I want you to take from this the idea that whatever entity or beings you work with, whatever ritual you perform to invoke them, you must first vibrate at that same frequency in order for them to appear, in order to open the channel of communication with them. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. You can get all kinds of magical herbs and magic wands and potions and spells, but if you're not at that same frequency, they will not appear. And even worse, it opens you up to being deceived by other beings because they know you better than you know yourself. Because they see our energies. They don't see the facade of who we pretend to be. They can see our energy. So they know who's sincere and who's not. This is why many don't have certain beings that come to them. You can't fool them. And that there are also many in the priesthood, in the esoteric community, that can see your aura and they can tell you what type of person you are. So keep that in mind. And I know that people want to get involved in the sexy stuff, and they want to look Kemetic, and they want to wear Kemetic trinkets, and then hold the ankh and do all this and do all that. But let us not forget that the most important thing is to live by Ma'at, to live truth, and to help others, and to share, and to love, and to give, seeking nothing in return. This is Kasak Ma Keperu, son of Ma'at and Tahuti. My aunt is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until the next video, Amun Ra.